Guys, Valentine's Day is coming up and it's time to elevate your romantic side. Don't worry, Uncle Chael is here to help. Go check out underluckystars.com. They make beautiful star maps showing the unique alignment of the stars during a place and time chosen by you. Birthday, engagement, wedding, a first kiss. It's an incredible gift to signify an important moment in your life. All you need to do is enter the time and location of your special moment, and you'll receive a beautiful archival print on museum quality thick matte art paper showing the exact constellation of the stars that were above you during that special moment in time. These maps are gorgeous, and this special gift will last for generations. Under Lucky Stars is the original star map maker, and their proprietary star mapping method is verified by NASA astrophysicists to ensure their accuracy. Visit underluckystars.com/Chael. That'll get you a 10% discount with code Chael, or just click on the link below. Middleweights on display this week, not just because there's a championship, guys. Make sure you follow along anytime there's a championship fight, and I do mean anytime. When there's a pay-per-view championship fight, one of the new policies is to bring in a backup fighter, but it's not done every time. Just by example, Gone versus Ngannou, we all thought somebody would walk through that curtain. I thought it was going to be Derek Lewis, but I knew somebody would be in place. There wasn't. Now, even though that's the new policy, the old policy, if you have a featured bout, whatever weight class that's in this case, it's middleweight. You put another featured bout on that same card within the same weight class. Why? So if you lose somebody in your main event, you can pull somebody that you've already promised and featured and his training is planning to be there anyway into that spot. Very obvious, but in case you're missing it, that's just the way this game is played. It's very smart tactical. And the first ones to ever do it is the UFC. We've had promotions within this sport go out of business. Affliction quite literally closed the doors forever because they lost their main event. And their roster wasn't deep enough, and who they had built wasn't with the depth to move somebody into that fight opposite Fedor and have the show go on. So it's a very big deal. It's very smart. It might seem simple to you, but you don't ever want to miss this. You want to understand everything. Everything is very calculated within the way Dana White does business. Everything is done for a reason. Okay. So now we see what that reason is. We see where we're getting Cannonier and we see that we're getting Brunson. I have one problem with Cannonier and Brunson. I love the fight, and both of those guys as human beings, I really thoroughly enjoy. I respect Brunson because nobody's helped him. Nobody has believed in Derek Brunson. He did it all on his own. He believed in himself. He is getting better. He is growing. He is not afraid to fight. He wants to win this match to get back there with Adesanya, who's the last guy that whipped his ass. Brunson does not care. He believes in Brunson. Always has. Cannonier is one of the better stories out there. Cannonier was like a truck driver in Alaska, fighting at heavyweight. Came down, skipped 205 pounds, drops all the way to 185. I met him one time to personalize, but I put my arm on him. Hey, how you doing? It was like touching a brick wall. Every piece of it was like touching steel. And I remember thinking, I think I even told him, hey, look like you're in pretty good shape. Very nice guy, but with a really great story. Now, I'm digressing and offering you that because I'm upset with both of them. I'm upset with both of these guys for one reason. They're not building this fight. That is unlike them, both. They're both got a level understanding of what it takes and what it means to be a main card and a featured bout. I have included on my own that the reason they're not bringing attention to this is they are under the impression, and perhaps they have already been told quietly, this is the number one contenders match. The reason I come to that conclusion is they're doing nothing. Before I sat down to tell you guys about this, I said to my producer, Ryan, is Cannonier and Brunson on this weekend's card? I swear to goodness that's a true story because I didn't know because they haven't told anybody. I knew they were fighting. I know it's a big fight. I didn't know they were fighting this weekend for sure. I had to double check it. That's their fault. I live in this sport. That is 100% their fault. Now, why would they do such a bad job? The reason that I'm guessing, and it is just that a guess, is they think they already know something. They think there's a bird in the hand. They think we don't need attention. We've already been told. It's the top 2 ranked guys. We're going to square off. As a matter of fact, if anything happens to Robert Whittaker, one of us might slide in right on this very night. Everything is going our way. That's what I think. That's what I think. The problem that I had with that is you will never be lied to by a promoter. I always got to hear what a scummy and what a dirty and what a lying business this is. A promoter is as good as the information that he has. All of us as human beings are as good as the information we have. Things aren't lies. They just change. You got to know how to adapt with that, because it's like the flags in football. Some are going to go against you, but some are going to go for you. And when the game is done, at least you're going to be real even. But you have to understand we're operating on what we believe is true at the time that we said it. The only reason I say it is I really do think somebody's told these guys there's no reason to do such a bad job in a number one contenders match as these two have done. Unless you think the work's already done, the hay's in the barn, all I got to do is beat this one guy. I don't have to deal with the media. I don't have to bring the fans in. My name's Derek. I just got to beat Cannonier. If my name's Cannonier, I just got to beat Brunson. That's it. That's where I'm guessing. But I would bet very heavily that I'm exactly right. Here's the problem. Here's the unseen. We have nobody in MMA with the power over their own career as Israel Adesanya. Now, Israel Adesanya is given that power because he strategically takes it. Adesanya, who will entertain you on the way to the ring, he's the only interesting walkout in the business aside from MVP. He will entertain the hell out of you in the ring. He might even go into breakdancing. He will cut a promo before he leaves the ring. He's a triple threat. If you can do one of those three things, you have a spot in this business. If you have two of these three things, you have a spot at the top of the card. He's the only one that can do all three. But it's extremely relevant. Nobody has controlled his own career and his own destiny like Israel Adesanya in the history of MMA. Israel Adesanya used that very power to go for a champ spot against Blachowicz in a weight class that he couldn't even make, let alone had ever competed in. Israel Adesanya used that power to take on a personal rival in Yoel Romero, who was coming off a loss. Izzy Adesanya used this the night he beat Whittaker to get business going with Paulo Acosta, who was sitting in the front row. Izzy is going to let us know who he's fighting next, and whoever Izzy says he's fighting next, if he gets his hand raised against Whittaker, if history is our greatest trajectory to the future, we know is who he's going to be fighting next. And nobody says that Izzy is going to say he wants a rematch with Brunson, regardless of how Brunson does. Nobody says that Izzy is going to call out Cannonier. Izzy has been very sweet to Cannonier, has actually said, I will fight him because I met him one time, I hung out with him, and I liked him. I'm going to give him the opportunity because he treated me the right way. I'm not going to take it for, okay, those are really good things, but you don't know what, Izzy could have his eye on Sean Strickland. It is going to be very hard to unwind whatever Adesanya does in the ring on that microphone. Every member of the media will be watching. Every fan who cares about the division will be watching. The live on this is your market. And if Izzy goes left, you're not going to be able to go into a press conference in the back that's shown on a couple of .coms and rewind it. It doesn't work that way. We've seen this with Kamaru Usman within the last year. After he gets done with Gilbert Burns, he calls out Masvidal. Masvidal was supposed to be fighting Covington. They scrapped that. They were going to be the coaches on The Ultimate Fighter. They scrapped the whole goddamn thing because the champ had told the world, I want this guy. I'm sharing that with you because nothing is done until it's done. Nothing is said until it's said. Izzy's got to win for anything I just said to be true. And perhaps that will be the winner of Brunson and Cannonier. Perhaps that's exactly what Izzy is looking, but maybe it's not. All I can do is follow the basic rule. Put myself in somebody's shoes and try to figure out what I would do in that same situation. If I'm Adesanya, I'm not into the rematches. I'm just not. Kamaru Usman is having to go through a division a second time. I don't know that that bothers him. I just know if it was me, I'd want a little bit of parity. I'd want to spread it around. So I don't know how much Adesanya wants to jump back in there with Brunson. If Cannonier looks great, what if he looks too great? And you got to understand, guys, this is all if Izzy wins. If Izzy loses, Izzy becomes the number one contender, and we go to part 3 with Whittaker. So it's very wide open is all that I'm sharing with you. What is on the line here? World Championship. In addition to that, you have personal grudge, and you have geography in your favor in terms of having a big fight. These two guys already did it once. 57,000 people showed up. When you got New Zealand versus Australia, you picked the sport. We got a good night of business. A lot is riding on it, but a lot is also riding on the rest of the middleweights. None of them can be sure. None of them know what they're going to get. None of them are going to get anybody, regardless of their positioning, to go into a back room in front of some .coms and get a bigger bounce than what Izzy says in the ring. And Izzy will not leave that ring without letting us know. He is a master. He is a master of making sure before tonight's business is over, I set up tomorrow's. And we don't know who's going to win. That's just if it's Izzy. If it's Robert Whittaker, all bets are off, and this is all for naught. The middleweights have a fight going on right now. They're not aware of it. They're not playing the game. Sean Strickland has got to speak most recently, but Cannonier and Brunson get to speak last. It then goes to the judge. And the judge is Izzy Adesanya. History matters. Adesanya's opinions trump all within that division.